So, let's learn about the environment while creating visual poetry and making sustainable goals with this exciting activity. To begin, do some research and find environmental writing. This sample can be a poem or story related to nature. One of my favorite environmentalist writers is Muir. There are so many more though, so do some research to find writing that you relate to. Next, learn about our impact on the environment and make 3 goals for areas we could improve at different levels. Have these goals be sustainable changes that will reduce the negative impact we have on nature. Make 1 personal goal, 1 for your community, and 1 for society as a whole. Lastly, relate your poem or story choice with how we are treating the environment. This activity is based on Common Core environmental literacy standards and ideally fits into the curriculum for grades 4 through 8. It can be modified in any way you'd like and can be made suitable for both younger and older students by adding or removing certain content. Do we treat Earth as greatly as we are benefited from the resources Earth provides? Think about the way the beauty and power of nature is portrayed in the poem compared to the lack of respect and preservation of the environment by many major companies that are profiting from taking Earth's resources. Are our actions sustainable? Think about what we can be doing to change the current practices and improve our sustainability as a whole. Now let's get to work. First, we want to make the poem or story visual. So we are going to add and combine photos to a 30 Hands Pro presentation to tell the full story with vivid imagery. Then we are going to narrate the poem with a focus on our pronunciation of words and using a clear and captivating voice. Use iterative creativity and complete cycles of reviewing and revising in order to end up with a great final project. Here's my example where I created visuals to go along with a selection from Our National Parks by Muir. After watching mine, create yours. Walk away quietly in any direction and taste the freedom of the mountaineer. Camp out among the grasses and gentians of glacial meadows, in craggy garden nooks full of nature's darlings. Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their own freshness into you, and the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves. As age comes on, one source of enjoyment after another is closed, but nature's sources never fail. Once you tell your story, make connections between the written word and think about the ways that we can improve our current sustainability to better preserve natural spaces and the environment. In the selection I chose, I interpreted being in nature as incredibly important to relieve stress and create a sense of inner peace. After reading it, I felt that we should preserve more wild spaces, like the ones marked out in the map above. The natural environment is one that alleviates the worries of a constantly busy world, and I think that's important to keep safe. What connections did you make while studying your poem or story? Do some research to learn what practices are good for the environment and are sustainable. Think of ways we can incorporate better practices into the world we live in. This circle chart shows where the U.S. is lacking in sustainability, and all sectors of ecology or our care for the environment rank especially low. The lowest ranking is our emission and waste category, which is nowhere near sustainable. Pause here while you make 1 personal goal, 1 for your community, and 1 for society as a whole to better create a sustainable world and keep the beauty of nature safe. My personal goal is to take a hike at least once a week. Being outside is a natural stress reliever, and I always feel much more at peace after being in the woods for a few hours. My goal for my community is to preserve our parks by keeping them clean and stressing a leave no trace policy. This means people are held accountable for their waste and keep the park looking like they had never visited. This helps with preservation and keeping the park looking nice. My goal for society as a whole is to stop using fossil fuels as a form of energy. There are sustainable options like electric cars that have a much lesser impact on the environment and will hopefully be made much more affordable for everyone to use in the near future. This will eliminate many things such as oil spills and their destruction of ocean ecosystems, and the amount of emissions cars put into the atmosphere. And they are not finite like fossil fuels are. What are your goals? Are we treating the environment fairly? Compare the many benefits we get from the environment with all the methods of destruction that humans have imposed. These are the sites labeled as superfunds, which means they are toxically polluted with hazardous materials and must be cleaned up. Compare this map to the one of the preserved land and talk about it. Are we treating the environment how we would like to be treated? I hope you learned something about the environment and were able to use your imagination to create visual poetry. I enjoyed completing this activity. Did you? Let us know what you think. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and more. Find us and follow us.